You'll see on the left, Invitational Indianapolis champion Lauren Nolen with Blue-White Delver, the tool that he used to win that championship. And on the right, Chris Andersen, underscore enthusiast, elf master, nice guy, Indianapolis native, has sunglasses all the time. One of the few Magic players I always see wearing sunglasses. He's got red-green aggro, and they both are on traditional tools of their own trade. Lauren starting out with a Delver of Secrets.
Chris Andersen, I talked to him earlier, he actually regrets not playing the card Blade Splicer. His opponent has 4 of them.
Yeah, well, that's going to be rough. And Chris, of course, starting out with the Llanowar Elf, as per his usual. Lauren is going to ponder on his second turn, looking to set up this Delver, which it's not going to do. He's got land, another Delver, and a Blade Splicer. So
when I saw that Llanowar Elf, I was like, oh, who's got the great... Oh, yeah, Chris.
Yeah,
never mind.
So this is an interesting decision for Lauren, because I don't think he has a second land in his hand. Yep, he's going to take that second land. Probably...
Yep, no second land in hand.
He's going to Thought Scour away these other 2 creatures that are on top of his library.
Yeah, there would have to be some sort of crazy thing that would happen for him not to do that. In fact, I don't think he even has an option otherwise. Does he have a Vapor Snag? Nope, no Vapor Snag. 3 mana from Chris Andersen, and a Borderland Ranger.
Now, we talk about this huge new format that we have, and I'm looking at Lauren's list, and I see no cards from M13. I take that back. I see Negate. One Negate.
Well, Negate already existed, though.
Sure.
It's already in the format.
Sure.
And we see a Borderland Ranger from Chris Andersen. Not new, but I'm just saying he cast one.
Sure.
Thought Scour EOT from Lauren Nolen. He finds
the
land. He had 2 opportunities. He had 2 chances.
Didn't flip the Delver again, however. So that's going to slow down its progress.
2 mana. I think Snapcaster Ponder.
That's what it's going to be.
Gut Shot, not bad. And 2 lands. And he has another land in hand.
This is probably going to be a shuffle, I would think. Well, maybe not.
I think he's going to Gut Shot that elf. Get that out of there. Zot.
Ah, so he can...
Holding Chris from 4 mana.
That's right. 4 mana in Chris's deck, of course, is where Huntmaster of the Fells lives. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Chris Andersen has in big capital letters Bonfire, of which he has 4, so that's something to keep an eye out for. Hey, there's
one. Boom. Zot, zot. Lose like your table.
That looks like a hard cast from the hand Bonfire. Don't let this foil fool you. It's no longer in play.
Very sneaky. Chris is one of the people, pardon me, Lauren is one of the people that uses the proxy cards. I personally use the real card and then flip it back and forth.
I tend to be on that team also. Although if you have foils and the rest of your deck isn't foil, it tends to be easier that way. Plus you get to show them off when you got them in your box. And
4th land for Lauren Nolen and a 4th land in hand for Chris Andersen.
Yep. Lauren obviously representing, of which he has the Restoration Angel, but he could also be representing Mana Leak, probably preventing Chris from using this Green Sun Zenith immediately. He's also got a Huntmaster in hand. And he looks like he's going to cast the Huntmaster.
Huntmaster.
Now Lauren's going to be able to play this end of turn Restoration Angel, play a land, and equip the Sword of War and Peace that's in his hand. Lots of people using Tim Ayton tokens this weekend, I've noticed.
Well, I mean, if you have the opportunity to use a Tim Ayton token, it's hard to ever use anything else.
That's a very good point. So Lauren Nolen, just as we said, turn 5, play sword, equip sword.
I heard a rumor, actually, that Tim Ayton played Magic fairly recently in a constructed event.
Really? Where?
I don't know, but if it's true, this would be a shocking revelation.
Yeah, he's a known railbird, avid railbirdsman.
5th land for Chris Andersen.
Yeah, this is a very difficult spot for Chris because Lauren's not going to not only be dealing damage, but he's going to start gaining life. And it's not like Chris has the fastest clock on the board at 6 when Lauren has 2 or 3 in hand.
I mean, one of the most aggressive things that Chris can do is hard cast a Wolfhero Silverheart here But even if he does that, I don't know how much it actually helps him accomplish a race.
Yeah. If
I mean,
Chris
he's
taps
taking...
out, sorry.
No, he's taking 5 from the creature, plus if he has a Silver Heart in hand, plus 3 from the hand. That's a 2-turn kill.
Yep.
And I don't think he actually has a kill back in that same time.
Chris has a Green Sun Zenith in hand and is main decking Thragtusks. So if he can draw land, he can Green Sun for 5 for Thragtusk, assuming Lauren doesn't do anything about it. You know what I mean?
And Chris makes his Borderland Ranger big. Borderland comes in for 6, 4 extra from his friends for 10.
So Lauren will go to 7. He'll attack, go back up to 10. Drew another land.
Ooh.
So Lauren will be able to stand in front of the 8/8 Wolfer Silverheart, but still take 10. So I don't think he can attack here.
The Restoration Angel in his hand does not flicker angels.
Correct.
Yeah,
Although,
sometimes I forget just how much damage that Wolfir Silverheart does. I was talking about Wolfir Silverheart maybe not being enough. I was presuming Lauren had something in his hand to be able to come back with.
Anything in his hand, and
all he had was the angel, which is not enough.
Angel.
He needed something else. I mean,
So
he spent all of his effort
game
trying to find all of that land, and then afterwards had nothing left.
That's right. Just had all the land right after that.
Going to our sideboards, Chris Andersen almost certainly recognizes Delver as a potential opponent, and his sideboard, we see the Stinger Fling Spider, which is usually a direct nod to Delver, and then 3 Sword of War and Peace, 3 Combust.
Yep. That's probably all he's going to bring in here.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how. I haven't played any with Thragtusk yet to know if it's okay.
You know, I have played a little bit with Thragtusk, but not against much Delver. I've been doing other playing with Thragtusk, but honestly, I'm not too convinced that Thragtusk is a huge weapon in that matchup, just because it costs 5 mana.
You're right.
And that can be just the spot where you're like, I guess this doesn't resolve, even with Cavern of Souls.
Looking at Lauren's sideboard, he's got Phantasmal Images, which that's probably unlikely to come in, although it copies Huntmasters and Thragtusks and Strangleroot Geists. So that's a possibility. Almost certainly this Gideon is going to come in.
Yeah, the Gideon looks really good.
He also has Celestial Purge, which is not an ideal answer to Huntmaster, but it is an answer to Huntmaster.
I mean, I feel like if he really wants one, he can bring that in, but that's a dangerous card to sideboard in. It can be stranded into your hand so easily.
What else? Possibly these Mental Missteps to be able to deal with mana things like Llanowar Elves and Bird of Paradise.
Were I sideboarding this, I would just probably bring in the images. I don't think I would go with Hero unless I'm looking for a body.
Yeah.
Because you have to expect that you're going to be on the back foot. And for the Hero to work, you have to have the ability to turn on the front foot. Lauren had a really good aggressive pose there for a second, but he couldn't actually maintain it.
Right, he couldn't flip the Delver, which was a huge problem.
I think it's just going to be 3 images, the O-Ring, and I think he's going to bring in the Tamiyo. Tamiyo against a deck without white means you're playing Tamiyo against not Restoration Angel. And Tamiyo can help a lot. Oh, I do see a Gideon Jura there. If we didn't mention it, the Gideon should also come in.
I think we did mention the Gideon.
Yeah.
The Gideon obviously very good against the red-green aggro deck. So these decks mostly just staying with their, not really changing plans. These are well-worn, well-known foes. So now these 3 War of Pieces are coming in, and presumably Sword of Feast and Famines are coming out, because he's got 4 Sword of Feast and Famine main deck, does Chris Andersen.
The thing about
anticipating green mirrors.
Yeah, that's what he said, actually. I was talking with him before this match, and Chris Andersen said that one of the things he was doing was he was tuning this list specifically for red-green decks, because he expected that there were going to be a lot of people playing Rancors.
And
you'll
indeed
know
there are.
He is not playing Rancor, and partly perhaps, we didn't talk about this, but I'm guessing because Sword of Feast and Famine and Rancor are kind of a nombo.
Yeah.
And nombos aren't very fun to put in your deck.
That's right.
If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, and in the booth with me, Ruben Bressler.
Looks like Lauren is going to be taking a mulligan on the draw. Chris comfortable with his opener. There's Chris on the right, staring us down. We are here in Collinsville, Illinois.
Not quite St. Louis.
Not quite St. Louis, but close enough.
Pretty close.
The gateway to the Gateway City.
I like that.
As no one has ever called it except for me, but I think that's a nickname that might catch on.
I bet you that someone out there has.
You know what, Collinsville? There's your new nickname. It's like how Klinger used to call, what was it? Toledo was the gateway to Zanesville, or something like that.
Klinger.
Wow,
from MASH.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a big MASH fan.
That show won some awards.
Sure did. Yeah, that show's awesome.
Chris Andersen here.
Looks like Lauren's got 2 lands. 1 to basic island, 1 to basic swamp.
For those of you who are just joining us, Chris Andersen up 1 game to 0 in this round 9 match. Here, 422 players, 10 rounds of Swiss today. Turn 1 Elf faces off turn 1 Ponder.
Well, this is turn 2 Ponder, actually.
Oh, pardon me. You're right. You're right. My bad.
He wanted to dig a little bit deeper to be able to find more land, I believe. Yeah, he's going to shuffle that away. Both of these players having... I believe both players have cards from Beta in play, which is awesome. Know your roots, people.
Beta Llanowar Elves.
And Beta Island on the other side. So I'm a big fan. It might be. Or that might... Well...
That's a Beta.
That is a Beta, yeah.
It's either that or it's not Sharpied Unlimited.
Sharpied
that's
Unlimited.
Dark.
It certainly is not FBB, so... foreign black bordered, for those who are not in the know on what that means.
I didn't know. Turn 2 Borderland Ranger.
Yeah, it's such a strong, it's such an innocuous card, this Borderland Ranger.
Yeah. Well, Kristen, go ahead.
And you'd think that that you'd want something splashier in a red-green aggro deck than just a 2/2 for 3 mana that gets you a land. You'd think you'd want something splashy, but it's exactly what the deck wants.
Absolutely.
It always wants to have 4 lands. There's Borderland Ranger right there. Common from Andersen Restored. Previously, yeah, see? So good that Nolen wants one, in fact.
Now, the thing I think people don't realize, Chris and I were talking about this today as well, that Wolfir Avenger, pardon me, is the card that I think a lot of people went to when they saw it printed. But really, that 2/2 body is so much better than the 3/3 body because it comes attached with that land.
Yep.
The land is so much better than a regenerating instant guy.
Is.
And it partly is that most of the decks don't really care about the 3/3's abilities, and that extra land is something that always works.
That's exactly right.
Tim Ayton back in the play.
It also has some of the best art in the set. That machete pushing the brush aside to lead you the way. I love that art for that set.
It's funny, I've never really looked at the art.
I love it. It's great.
A lot of Magic art for me are vague shapes that I know what they are, but I don't really look at them.
I disagree. I love the art.
That's what I do.
Oh, fair enough.
Silverheart is best friends with the Huntmaster.
Coming in for 6, taking Lauren down to 14. Lauren does have a Vapor Snag in hand to be able to ambush this Huntmaster, should he so choose. He also just topped off a Dismember. Still awkward mana for Lauren. Now, looking at the tiebreakers real quick, by the way, just so everyone knows, there's a ton of people on 18 points. Everyone who is currently in 16th all the way down to 54th are on 18. And in fact, Christopher Andersen has the worst tiebreakers of all of the 18-pointers. While Lauren Nolen does still have a chance to break into, an off chance, very off chance, to break into the top 8.
Well, I mean, like, I guess 2 weeks ago I was in a PTQ, and 8th place was an X2.
Yeah.
And 9th place was me at X2 with a 0.3% tiebreak loss to him.
Sure, I mean, yeah. And you'll have to bring Matthias in the booth.
5
oh,
mana.
Jeez.
Okay, the Silverheart is bounced and returns to play. Will there be a mana leak? Cavern of Souls says no.
No, this is probably going to be
another snag?
A Dismember.
Ooh,
after
block.
a first strike block.
That works too. Block and snag again. First strike will take care of the Huntmaster.
So he does still have Dismember to be able to deal with it should he so choose.
Another
later.
elf.
Many elves in play. Lauren choked on mana once again. He's got multiple swords of various types in hand. So he's going to be able to flash in a Restoration Angel to blink a Blade Splicer. In his hand, he's got Sword of Green and Black, Sword of Red and White, Angel, there's a Sword of Green and Black, and a Dismember, in addition to those other 3 cards. Chris has lots of mana, it appears. 3 lands and a Bird of Paradise.
Ripbound Crag. 2 more mana. Wolfie or Silverheart.
Didn't
Best
see it
friends with a
coming.
wolf. Dismember on
the wolf in response to the trigger, I imagine.
Huh. I'm actually kind of curious how that works.
So Wolf or Silverheart and all the soulbound creatures have, I believe the way it works is that they have a trigger of when they come into play, you may pair them. And so that there's a window where you can pair them.
He's hitting the Wolf or Silverheart there.
Yep.
Got it.
So you may pair this creature with another unpaired creature when either enters the battlefield. Is the imperative word there. So when, whenever, and if are the triggered ability words.
Yep. The when matters.
Yep. So you can always respond. So so it's a 4/4 for a minute, right before it puts 8 more power on.
One
the
hot second, it's a 4/4.
That's right. That's all you need to be able to dismember it.
And here we have a Golem, or a Golem if you want to be more traditional, coming in. I think we're going to see a second sword. In it comes.
There it goes.
Untap. Chris in real trouble here, but Lauren still is only at 10 life.
He's going to be able to start gaining that back next turn, theoretically. Yep, nothing but lands for Chris. Pretty unfortunate. I think Chris is probably just dead. Yep.
Just going for the kill. See what going for the attack, I should say.
Yep.
Just hoping something works.
And here's the Restoration Angel. He's going to get pretty blown out here, blocking all 3 creatures.
And I just don't know if Chris can even top deck anything at this point.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, Bonfire, because that Sword of War and Peace is there, is not going to be as effective if Chris were to top deck it next turn, because whatever the best creature is, Lauren is just going to protect it up.
Yep. So Chris is going to be able to Bonfire for 6 at best, 7 at best, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So
and now this is all presuming he finds a miracle.
Right.
Not to mention that, assuming he doesn't die.
Assuming he doesn't die. Oh, he's probably dying.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
11,
7, 8, 9,
12,
10.
14, 15 on the nose.
Is it 15
then there's
on
a
the
block. A block makes it 12. And there's no blocker, so you're dead.
There it is. So Chris is now at 14 currently. He will take 1 from Sword in addition to 7 plus 3 plus 1 plus 3. Yep, that's game.
And Chris, on to a next game.
A little
bit of playfulness between these 2 players here. I know that Chris is at this point where he doesn't feel like he's having a very good tournament overall,
yeah.
And he's happy just to be enjoying himself.
Yep.
I think not really looking hardcore for a win right now.
I think that I was talking with Lauren a little bit. He's always just happy to be playing Delver. He's just I don't know. He's just always he's just in his element playing Delver. He won an invitational doing it. He had that epic marathon match against Max Tietz in the top 8. He was able to beat Ronnie Rittner in the semifinals, and then he was able to actually play Michael Hetrick, who'd been tearing apart Delver decks the whole tournament, in the final. And he's just happy playing Blue-White Delver. And in this particular tournament, he doesn't have to play as many mirror matches because everyone's wanting to play these Bird of Paradise decks.
Adam Prozac, our, we will say, off in the field being undefeated in this tournament, but otherwise a commentator for Star City Games, he tells me that Lauren is the kind of person that grinds out Delver all the way to the end in FNMs. He just loves playing it.
That's right. And it serves him well. I mean, he always has solid finishes. He won Star City Games Cincinnati, which was the largest open of the year. He won the Invitational with this deck that he just practices. And when you practice with your weapon day in and day out, and you just decide to be the best at that strategy, then you just do it. And then you know, he's stuck to his guns. So
Well, one of the things about a deck like Delver, when I was playing, like I've played in 2 PTQs now, bad Delver players really, really do not get wins when they should.
Yep.
There are so many wins that they give away. And conversely, though, as you get better and better at Delver, it starts rewarding you a lot. Now,
Yep.
Delver is not a very forgiving deck. It's
Absolutely
very much
not.
a deck of inches, but it just so happens that those inches often put you pretty ahead of your opponent because you get these incremental advantages and time runs out and they're dead. And by time runs out, I don't mean the clock. I mean time for
runs
them
out
to-
on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many little decisions to make. Do you ponder on the first turn, or do you save it for later? Or what do you Restoration Angel? Do you flash in a Snapcaster Mage to block and Thought Scour, or do you wait, be a little patient, and do the Ponder? There are all these little decisions. And I remember talking with Kenny Caster, who when I was playtesting the deck, and he said, you know, it's the kind of deck where you don't really have to make decisions until the decision happens. Don't plan ahead too far. Let the game come to you, and then think.
Elf on turn 1 from a Copperline Gorge. And a
Nolen
Delver
has
and a Gut Shot.
Delver Gut Shot.
Oh,
is
does he have a
great
Snapcaster
start.
in his hand?
It appears.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There it
He
is.
does.
So this is the dreaded Snapcaster Gut Shot that Elf and Bird decks just hate.
Yep. Snapcaster Mage just does so much. It adds. I mean, it's the second copy of the best spell in your deck against every deck. It's
Chris
so
has
good.
one of his sideboard cards in hand, Combust.
So that Combust will be able to deal with this Delver of Secrets should it flip into an Insectile Abomination. But until then, I think we
Spirit,
can wait.
says Cavern of Souls. In comes Strangleroot Geist. And Natural Flip. As you do.
Sometimes you get rewarded. Now, he's also got 2 Phantasmal Images in his hand to be able to copy either Strangleroot Geist or Insectile Abomination. My guess is he's going to copy Strangleroot Geist, block, and then flip it into an Insectile Abomination. Oh, well, maybe not. He'll just go aggro.
You know what? I
Take
think
5.
he's like, I'm winning right now.
Yeah, and he's got another one in hand, so why not? I like this plan.
Yeah, when you see that from your opponent, you don't feel good when you're the aggro deck.
Yeah, when your opponent's suddenly swinging in for 5. Chris Andersen is at 15 here, by the way. Lauren is at 14 now.
We see a Combust for the Insectile Aberration. And he's doing that right now, even though he could do it uncounterably later, because then it stops a Vapor Snag from potentially being used to protect the Delver. I mean, it's not like a huge shift for him, but I mean, maybe one of his paths is to hope that Lauren just does not have much in the way for creatures here.
Right. Unfortunately for him, there's another Phantasmal Image in his hand, which is going to get cast here. Another Gut Shot, in
Double
fact.
Geist.
He's got Gut Shot and Mental Misstep, so none of these 1-drops are going to do anything. This Bird of Paradise in Chris's hand is not going to do much here.
A Huntmaster would be really good right now.
Yes. When isn't a Huntmaster really good?
Oh, I can name lots of times the Huntmaster isn't really good.
Not against Delver, though. Not often against Delver. But yeah, Huntmaster is
I don't know.
a weird spot in the metagame. There's a while there where Thrun was just a better 4-drop. I think that time has passed. But
Part of the reason right now that a Huntmaster would be so solid is that Lauren Nolen has the unusual situation of having 2 Strangleroot Geists in play via Phantasmal Image. And I guess there is not... Yeah, there is a Huntmaster, right? That is a Huntmaster. Am I seeing that correctly?
yes.
And if Chris blocks with both of his wolves, his Huntmaster and his wolf, then his own Huntmaster won't be around for Lauren to copy with the image. And we see a Gut Shot.
All right.
And Forest Hunty.
I would imagine so. By the way, if you guys are at home and listening and you hear a little bit of music in the background, that's because there's a wedding party next door.
There are actually 2 wedding parties. We're in between wedding
parties. So just in case you guys are having some trouble, we're having a little bit of a party here.
In Sacramento, we were right next door to a prom.
Nice. In Columbus, every once in a while for PTQs, we're in the Columbus Convention Center, and they have like random volleyball tournaments and high school wrestling finals
Right.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
The last time we were in this venue, it was me and Brian Kibler, and we were right next to a gun and knife convention.
Oh,
and
man.
to enter the building, you had to be searched for weapons,
Wow.
which was awesome.
That's awesome. Well, not awesome in the traditional sense of it being a good thing.
It was actually funny because the guy that was doing the weapon searching, he didn't search a lot of the Magic players, even though he was supposed to search everyone. He just kind of looked at them and just was like, I don't think you've got a gun.
Yeah, you're pretty harmless looking.
And we see Tim Ayton making his appearance again with Huntmaster of the Fells.
That security guard probably searched like 4 or 5 backpacks, found nothing but binders, and decided that all these, 17-year-olds with backpacks.
There are a couple of events you can really tell which one someone's going into.
Yep.
The Magic player or somebody else. One I remember was the Psychic Fair. The Psychic Fair, you could tell who was who. Another one was the Gun and Knife Show.
Yep.
And then another one was one in Los Angeles from a while back, which I'll leave alone for now. But
Oh, jeez. I want to hear that story now, but we'll talk about that one later.
Another time, another day.
Another time. So in the meantime, Lauren is swinging in with his 2 Strangleroot Geists.
Now,
And Chris is presented with a little bit of a quandary.
wow, this is
Huh.
shock. I do not like this play at all.
Here. Yeah.
Wow. That seems like insanity. What means here is that he gets to have his opponent, Lauren Nolen, gets to copy the Huntmaster twice with its come into play ability.
Huh. I'm very confused by that.
I just, I don't know. I mean, Chris would know that would happen. He's a smart guy. Why would he want that to happen?
I don't know. That's a weird one. So Lauren now suddenly with 10 power on the board. No spells have yet been played this turn, so Chris can theoretically flip his Huntmaster should Lauren not play a spell. Lauren appears to have 3 Snapcaster Mages, was that correct? That
He's got at least one.
He's got at least 2. I saw 2 for sure. Nope, it's 2. He's got 2 and a mental misstep. So there's a gut shot at Chris to be able to not flip the Huntmaster until his own turn. Chris draws a land. Chris's hand
3,
is
6,
12.
8, 10.
Lauren has Chris's life total in power on the board. So the winning run is on 3rd. Chris has land, Bird of Paradise, and I forget what the 3rd one is. Yeah, I think that was a bad mistake by Chris. I don't understand that one at all, and that's not like him to make to do something.
I mean,
like
here's
that.
the thing. It's round 9. It's been a long tournament, and Chris, he actually isn't in a mental state where he's actually been
That's true.
super trying hard to win this match.
That's true. He lost a lot early. He was 2-2, I believe, and he's kept winning because it's Chris Andersen who just wins against mediocre opponents.
Talking to Matthias earlier, Matthias is like, yeah, there are sometimes I'm playing either play testing or out in a tournament, and I'm no longer in it. And I just stop trying as much when I'm not in it anymore. I'm just kind of playing Magic to have fun. And, obviously it's not fun to lose. At least I don't find it fun to lose. But it's when you're not paying that full attention, those small things can just kind of creep into your game.
I have another judging Magic players by their covers story, if you want to hear that real quick while Chris is thinking. So the first event that Matthias was getting picked up from an airport by Glenn Jones and some other people who were working the event, and they drove to the airport to go pick him up, and they didn't know what Matthias looked like.
Wait.
He's gonna flip,
kill,
target an image. Okay.
Okay. We have a flipped Huntmaster.
So
now
we have
the
a
Ravager of the Fells.
I still don't see that as favorable for Chris, though. I'm still perplexed. So anyway, Matthias, like they go to the airport and no one knows what Matthias looks like. They look at each other and say, "Do you know what he looks like?" And they say, "No." "Do you know what he looks like?" "No." But hold on. They see a guy out the window that looks like vaguely nerdy, waiting there, standing alone, and they say, "Hey, Matthias." And Matthias is like, "Hey," there, and they pick him up. They just called him out of nowhere. So, you know, sometimes you see a backpack. That's what I do whenever I'm near an event site and I don't know where the event is actually being held. Is I identify a guy with a backpack and just go. So Lauren's going to swing in with the team
There are
here.
a lot of backpacks in this room.
He's going to block with Ravager and take 6, says Chris. Snapcaster on Gutshot to deal the last 1 damage. Lauren's going to go to 10. Chris is going to be at 6. And he has Borderland Ranger, Forest, Bird of Paradise in hand. Lauren's going to find 3 lands and shuffle. Lauren still has 8 power on the board. I mean, so Chris can obviously find a bonfire every single time bonfire's in play. It's live, just about. A bonfire's pretty live.
It's hard not to kind of make thump noises with this music happening so loud next to us. We've already got some dancing going on. Everybody over here, it's all a party in the house. But on Chris Andersen's side of the board here, you can see Lauren Nolen. He was dancing along with his hands.
And Chris was banging the table looking for it. A little bit of pageantry from everybody. Green Sun Zenith's not dead, though.
For Huntmaster, lay a land Huntmaster. Go to 8.
Not
stay alive.
Redraw. We get to bang the table looking for some more. Some more answers.
Looks like Sam Black has walked up to us. Is he dead? He is saying he is dead.
Sam Black, unfortunate. He was telling me that this was a good tournament for him too. Yeah, because there were so many fewer Delvers around.
And actually, it's funny because Chris Andersen said that he thought this was a very good tournament for Sam's deck.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Aten shows up once again. Tim Aten has died a lot this match.
Yeah, Tim Aten's been on camera more often than pretty much anybody. He was a token for Adam Boyd. He's been a token for Chris Andersen. I've seen him in at least one other deck. I think Justin Uppel had Tim Aten tokens. So everybody with the Tim Aten.
I think there's a Sword of War and Peace in Chris Andersen's hand.
Ooh, that's a good one. So Lauren's still threatening a lot here, but he needs to realize.
Oh, wah, wah, wah. Paper snag, Tim Aten.
Yep. This is going to put Chris to 1.
He has to block. Goes to 1. Unless we have the life totals wrong, that's to 1.
Yep. There it is.
It could be that Lauren thought the game was over because he forgot about the 2 life.
Yeah.
And now a bonfire. He needs a bonfire. Off the top. Oh, there's a Moreland Hawk. Good point.
So, Lauren Nolen, victorious over Chris Andersen here in round 9 of 10 at Star City Games St. Louis, the standard portion. He will move to X and 2. That would be 7 and 2. Chris Andersen will be 6 and 3. I don't know if Lauren is still alive for top 8.